This was an awesome one. I have Silks here. I've got Laura and Eric. I spoke to Eric right around the time, maybe even the first day or the next day after I came up with this idea and told people about the idea for the podcast. That one didn't end up coming out. We decided we wanted to talk about different things. There was blah, 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 blah. But I'm so glad because it meant that, not yeah, like I said, not only do I now have Eric, I have Laura as well. And we talk in detail about songwriting, how their songwriting has grown, the gear they use. Really, any Silks fan uh, is going to be happy with this interview, I think. Oh, that's a coffee. Okay, I was wondering if that was from here. It looks like a peanut butter smoothie or something. I don't know.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, that does sound good. Peanut butter
Nice.
coffee smoothie.
Yeah, already got a coffee as well here.
Nice.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for coming on. This is sort of round two in a way.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm glad we could do this, the three of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, I almost like the first episode was going to be me and Eric and I and Silks, but I ended up pushing it back and then deciding to just do it differently with the two, I would argue prime members of or prime songwriting folks in Silks. But maybe we can start there. Is that correct?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, it is a lot of it is actually a group effort, with our songwriting. We're a pretty collaborative
Okay, okay.
collaborative band where we're like a lot of or at least a lot of our newer songs are written in the rehearsal space. I've been finding we'll come up with a jam and then be like, oh yeah, I really like that. And then we'll just, try to dissect it and turn it into something.
Wow, I was just going to say your music doesn't come across as jammy, and I mean that as a positive.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's cool that you can carve it out of those jams.
I think the album, there were a lot of ideas that I would bring, or Laura and I would jam out and bring, and then we would dissect it and tear it apart, put it back together. But now the songs we're writing are all mostly like jams that we then do the same idea with. We edit it all together and move things around and decide as a band what we want to hear.
Yeah, I want to hear the actual process in the room. So does somebody just start playing something and the rest of you fall in?
Yeah.
I'm getting nods.
Actually.
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's how it's
Wow.
been. Like someone starts playing something, whether it's Bo's got a sweet beat on the drums or Noah's got a cool line, and then we just start tossing things on top, and then we like after that first jam we'll like talk about it, and maybe one of us will have a riff, whether Noah or I have a riff that we want to play, and we'll throw that in there and see if it fits. And I'll also think about it a lot on my own time, and I have like a whole backlog of riffs that are yet to be used.
Oh wow.
Just waiting for the right moment. So.
Wow, that's cool. That's exciting. You got a backlog of you just got a quiver of riffs behind you. Damn. Well, yeah, I'm curious just sort of how long the jam lasts. How long does a jam last?
It varies. Sometimes it's like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Sometimes it's 10 minutes, usually in that ballpark. And we record everything. Like we just kind of have something going so that we can always go back to it and scroll through and figure out what were the best parts, or like what did we really like about that. And then sometimes it's a jam that we're like, oh yeah, that was cool. And it's just kind of a warm up before we start practicing our other songs, or working on one of our songs in progress. And then sometimes we'll hit something and be like, oh wow, I really like that. And so we'll just kind of stick with it and start being like, oh, okay, what if this was, this is the chorus or section A. Often it's like we have to give them names. Sometimes it's section A, B section, Deborah. Yeah. It's like,
First we do 4 rounds of Sarah and then 2 of Deborah, and then we go back to
Yeah.
Wow.
That helps.
That makes a lot of sense because, like I said, it doesn't feel jammy. It all feels really tight, but it does feel sometimes complex. Like it feels very worked out, but it makes sense that it's coming from jams, but then it's so sort of whittled down. That's really interesting. What do you use to record? Like when you say you record these jams, is it actually on a board, or does one of you just throw your phone in the corner?
I'm excited about this question because we just improved
Oh, hell
our
yeah.
recording situation
Okay.
immensely. It used to just be either my phone or a little like 2-channel Tascam stereo recorder.
Yep.
But we are lucky enough to have a situation now where we can kind of leave our cables and just we kind of have like a mini studio situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not too high end, but yeah, we have multi-track recordings of our jams now, which is great.
Damn.
And all of our settings there, so we can just kind of listen back. Kind of like demo quality. It's really, really great.
Wow, living the dream. That's a dream.
Seriously,
I think.
It's great. It's fantastic.
So is
also,
this just? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I this is just me going rogue here. I have dreams of being able to release some of these jams in the future, just unnamed. I don't know. We'll talk about it. But this is
I think that would definitely serve as a cool like little what's a good way to like a transitional EP between actual like releases that you want to write and release. That'd be a cool little way of just keeping interest. Maybe.
Yeah. Hey, this the first feedback I've had on it. So.
I like stuff like that. I mean, I've always been like if you're a huge fan of a band, I like hearing. Same with comedy. I like hearing a comedian like work out the jokes as well as the final joke, right? So, same thing. What were you gonna say?
Oh, just that it's like having the multi-track recordings really allows us to speed up our writing process, to be able to, almost put a demo right away instead of having to like go back and record individual things and do them on our own, where one person records something at their place. It's like, I imagine it's something that, when you get to a certain level or you've got like a certain budget or something, it really allows you to do that, where you're a band like King Gizzard, where they're probably just like they're recording and writing as they go and putting things out.
Yeah, that's how you make 26 albums.
Yeah, we're not quite there. We're not quite there yet, but
you'll get there. You'll get there.
I don't know if that's maybe.
I think we're too neurotic to make that many albums on that speed.
Yeah, you got some Radiohead sensibilities, in terms of not just music, but I feel like also just the way you like to put stuff out, maybe, or how much you think about it. Which is a positive. No, that's pretty interesting that's how it comes. I really did not expect that for writing style, for that they would come from jams.
Yeah, thinking back to that first album, like this is definitely how we're doing it now.
Right.
Pressure Waves, I think, was a little bit more like their
individual.
There were solid ideas brought to the table, and then we edited them together. And some of them were some of them was like we jammed through those ideas and came up with new things and came up with new directions. I think 3 to 1 was definitely like jammed out. Like we had two strong ideas that we then jammed out and figured out how to get them all together. And there were a lot of sessions to make that one happen.
Wow. So is this space that you have owned by one of you, or you were just there long enough, but it's a general space, but now you have like a monthly thing, so you leave your shit there? That wasn't a great question.
Yeah,
but,
no, I understand though. It's a monthly rehearsal rental space. So
Gotcha.
we share it with another band, and it's one of those things that doesn't pop up too often, but we were super lucky and able to get in there. And it's just like a rental space. So it's it's nice.
Amazing, sweet. So have you guys already got like tons of, I mean, I bet you have tons of stuff that if you're jamming, I feel, how often are you guys playing together every week?
We try to do once a week. I think when things were calmer for the four of us in our lives, we were doing more even. We were doing like 2 or 3, which
that's a lot.
And then work gets in the way, people get busy and with their lives and stuff, which is totally fair. So we gotta, at least once a week. Yeah.
As everybody in the band has like a day job or something else they do for supplemental income kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
You're not there yet.
Not there yet.
I don't know.
Be a lighthouse for us. Be a port in the storm.
Hey, I'm all for it.
I feel like there's a much higher threshold for that these days.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I don't know where to go because I feel like I have a bunch of questions for you, but I for some reason want to. Maybe it's just because I was listening to the song earlier. The national anthem by Radiohead is something you guys played when I saw you at Houndstooth.
Yeah.
How often do you put that song in your sets, or just covers or Radiohead, or what's the deal there? Because you guys, there are many great bands with great original music locally that also do covers. But then there are some bands that seem to prioritize, and I do this too, where I almost never play covers. I just play my own music. I would have assumed that was you guys, but then here I heard the opening bass line. So what's the deal?
I think we are. We do lean, like we play original music. We got a lot of stuff we're excited about. That we want to play.
Well, I think for a really long time that was the case where we didn't play any covers, and we've like played a couple every now and then, and we were always kind of like, oh, what if we cover this song, or what if we cover this song? And then we'll try it and it doesn't quite fit, or we're not super excited about it. And then one day we were like, oh, what about the national anthem? And we started playing it, and it was just like it clicked so well, and we were having so much fun playing it, and it just felt so good to play, and we were just like, oh man, I fucking love this. So it's we played it a number of times now on our most recent shows. And every time we're like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe we'll retire the cover now. And then every time we go to play, we're like, oh man, but we love playing the song.
It's got
and
so much energy.
Always gets a good reaction. It's hard to put it down, but
it's really great. I would love to do like just a DIY recording of it sometime, because it's so much fun, and then we put a lot of energy and a lot of weird sounds into it too. So
you should just get a really good rehearsal take and then slip that into the release that you're talking about.
Exactly. That might be what happens.
Well, let's talk about the new music or if you're able to, the new music that's coming. So anybody who clicked on this, they see the name Silks. If they already knew your band, most likely they know Pressure Waves, because I feel like that's the thing you've been pushing for so long. You have had some singles or whatever, but Pressure Waves is the thing that you've played a lot, right? And so now we can get into your new music. I'm very curious. I feel like Pressure Waves has a definite personality just as a whole. And do you think this is a real shift? Do you think it's like a sibling? What's the deal with the general atmosphere?
I think it's a rebellious older sibling.
Oh, okay. Rebellious older sibling, the one who carved the path out for the other sibling. It's not as tough. Interesting.
Yeah, it definitely, we're really excited about it. First of all, it's something that it's like Pressure Waves, the songs, those were written over a very long period of time, like maybe 6 years or something. So there was a lot of labor involved, and just like time spent kind of going over the same things, and we were very perfectionist about it, and we've learned a lot since then. And our new stuff, we've been writing a lot more quickly, and it feels very fresh and new, exciting, and
that's intoxicating.
And we also really love the songs. Like they're just they're feeling really good, and it feels like definitely an evolution that has sort of grown with us as individuals, like just as we've grown up over the past 4 years or so, whenever, or however many years. But we've it's definitely it feels like where we are in our lives.
I think that's accurate. I also think that like we learned a lot about how to write together and how to play these songs, and we dove into our own um, musical tastes,
Mm-hmm.
through writing Pressure Waves, and then rewriting those songs, and then also relearning them with Bo, who's our drummer now. Sean played on the record, and Bo is writing with us now.
Right. Fantastic.
Yeah, and I think writing Pressure Waves taught us how to write as a band, and this new album is like really, it feels confidently us.
Everybody wants to hear their favorite artists at their most confident, I think, especially if it's confident in, not fake confidence, but confidence in exciting ideas. There's ideas that excite them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk more tangibly maybe about how this sound has evolved from Pressure Waves? Like even just, is there an instrument that would surprise us? You already used a ton, right? You already had lots of cool sounds, stuff like that, but
Yeah, it's a
are
lot of
you
the
bringing out a
same.
sitar or something?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We
Okay,
haven't planned
okay.
to, but maybe. A lot of it is the similar instrumentations. Maybe there's a couple new pedals, different
Ooh,
synth sounds for
okay.
sure. I think the sounds are a little more 80s, um, a little more dissonant, maybe a little more. I'm trying to think of
I think that's
Like
some cool
specifics.
texture to
those
them.
things make
Yes,
me
a lot
think of
more
like Joy
texture.
Division. What you're saying makes me think of Joy Division or like New
Those
Order.
are the synth tones.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that speaks
Yeah,
to the synth tones.
specifically to the synth tones, not
right.
the overall sound,
No, no, no.
but
You're
this
not going to
just
start singing like.
specifically.
Okay.
No, yeah, but it has been. There's a lot of like, some of the songs are more fun. I think they're a
Oh,
little less gloomy, although there is still some darkness. Um,
I guess Pressure
there's
Waves was gloomy, but it was like a roller coaster ride of gloom. It was great. It showed there's depths within gloom, heights and depths. So
yeah,
interesting.
that's still there, I think.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
It's still there, but I think you can tell we're having fun writing these songs. I
That's
think that
cool.
that first album felt very introspective. This one feels
Hmm.
like it's like really feels like a team effort. We're having fun writing the songs, and they're, yeah,
I wonder if
it shows.
I'm sure it shows. I'm sure that's due to a bunch of different reasons, but I feel like one of them maybe is because you're writing them so much quicker. Maybe it feel that that's fun because there's that famous phrasing of you have your whole life to write your first album and then you have like 2 months to write your second or whatever. I Go ahead.
Sure, yeah, that's true, and that also it's true in a great way for us,
Mhm.
because I think, like I said before, it taught us how to write. We were very very we had very high standards. We were very perfectionist in our approach to making these songs, and now we are we're saying yes to ideas a lot more.
Yes, and
Yes,
Yes,
and
and that improv.
that's, yeah, that we should
it's
put
Wow.
that
that
on.
we joked that we were a no but band, and now we're a yes and band.
That's a
Yeah.
great transition. That's a great warm transition.
Hmm.
Uh,
So,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, so we're able to hear each other's ideas, and just accept them, and then build on them, and it's coming together a lot quicker, and yeah, and that's just a more fun way to work.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have a rule now that it's if someone suggests something, we have to try it. We always try it. There's no like we don't instead of
Wow.
talking and being like, I don't think so. It's like, okay, no, we have to try it. And then at least if you
Wow.
try it and it doesn't work, then we can say, hey, we tried it, but you
And
gotta try it.
usually it's the person who brought forth the idea that is like, no, I don't like this.
Has it happened before where you don't say what the idea is, obviously, but one of you heard an idea or that you heard it described and you thought this is fucking garbage, but okay, let's do it. And then it surprised you with actually how well it worked.
I bet there is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
right,
definitely
right, right.
has.
I can't think of any specifics right now. I have to listen through. Do you have
Yeah, I'm
anything?
trying to think of a specific. I know it definitely has
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, I don't need
I think,
specifics. It's just
you know
that's
what?
enough.
I think in one of our new songs, Gardens, there was a whole section, like we had a whole section in the middle, and I was like, what if we just took that section out and went from here to here? I can't remember if there was like, if people were like, I don't know, or if it was, I can't remember. But
I definitely, yeah.
I think it was like,
I was like, but so cool. The section's so weird and like fun, and then, but definitely we tried it, and immediately I realized like, oh wait, this flows so much better, and it just feels like a better song now. So yeah, when we actually record and release this album, I'm sure I'll do a little deep dive into that.
Yeah, right. It's a bittersweet feeling to lose something is cool. Like, it doesn't mean that part was as bad. It just means it wasn't serving the song in the way that you wanted. So cutting it out was better. But it's a bittersweet feeling. It's the kill your darlings kind of thing, right?
I don't see it as bitter. We've done this enough times now that I actually think it's like that idea helped you get to where you are today. So
but
you needed to do that to like get to this point, and it's just like it served its purpose.
Well, that's a very evolved way of looking at
it. Yeah, the ego has left the chat.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, well, let's talk a bit about live stuff. What the first question, what do you think is your best live show, your best live performance, or your favorite?
I still think maybe Class of.
Yeah, the Class of show was really fun. It was really great crowd. And
remind me which venue you played for that. Was it Monarch?
That was Monarch Tavern. Okay. That was for Exclaims Class of at Monarch Tavern, and it was filled up real quick. We played really well because we were really excited for it, and we were honored to be playing it, and had a really great reaction. And it felt really good. We all felt really great about that show. It sounded good, played well, and it's taking us to some great places.
Yeah, we played with some really great bands too. It was so fun just getting to see all the other bands, and the energy in the room was really really elevated, I think.
Do you remember who else was on the bill?
Yeah, it was Derm Abrasion, Slug, and Life in Vacuum.
Vacuum, nice.
Closed up the night, and I left all of my energy on the dance floor. That was that was a good show.
That's great. So what about so you played well, it was a successful night, that's why you think it was your best show, but I'm curious about even more specifics, like maybe I'll phrase it in this way. For example, in any of your songs for either of you that you were playing that night, are there any parts in those songs where every time it's coming up closer and closer, you're like, am I going to land this trick, so to speak, guitar-wise or vocally? You know?
I actually do have one, and it's interesting because it's a song we like never really play. In Vinny that night, I had this like little guitar solo that I play and then to start off the bridge, and I was in practice trying to do it differently, like just freer and more like authentic in the moment, playing like improvising a little, and I nailed it. Nailed it that night. I like really went for it, and everything worked out well, and I felt really good about that. But also a little bit of nerves moving on up to that point, because I'm just going to do something new. So who knows what's going to happen.
Do you ever worry when you write about, okay, live, how am I going to pull this off? Even just weird sounds, like maybe technically we need 5 guitar players or whatever. But other stuff as well, just like what you just said about the solo. Okay, sitting down in a studio, you can nail it, but live in the middle of a moment, oh no, maybe I gave myself too tall an order. That's how I think sometimes. So yeah.
I think because we've been writing sort of live off the floor together with everything that we have at our fingertips, it's like
naturally you write what you can play in a live setting, because that's essentially what you're doing.
Yeah, that's how we've been operating instead of, being at a computer with like a million different sounds at our disposal. It's been sort of like, here's what we got, here's what we can do. And so it's translated really well. Although it is really fun to be able to, once you get into the studio,
all the toys.
Yeah, then that's when it's like, oh, we have all these different sounds now. This sounds so good on the album. How do we recreate this? That was definitely a thing on Pressure Waves. After we recorded, we were like, oh, how do we recreate this? And we did kind of go back and start, with the synth sounds. I changed a lot of what I was playing live up until we recorded the album, and I tried to kind of recreate things to sound more like the different instruments that Braden had in a studio, and what the things that he suggested, or the different tones that we were experimenting with. So yeah, and you can't always do that. Although you did do that with Denim, Eric.
Yeah.
With the what you recorded in studio, you then there was a second guitar. So you
had to there were a lot of cool things that Braden had us do, or just that we do in the studio, and I had a lot of guitar tracks on Denim, and playing different types of guitars with different textures and tones that I have tried to emulate live through like my various pedals, and just making that tone on Denim. It finally worked live well, because I added a high octave to try and do that double track guitar thing that's on the album.
The really high pitched
really high pitch. Exactly. I do add a high octave with some verb on it, so it trails out, and that's been working really well. It's yeah.
Let's travel down that rabbit hole for a bit, if you're comfortable, with sharing your gear secrets. Not actual secrets, but not the knob, where they are on the dial or anything, but like, to start, what you've referenced synths a lot, then we go back to pedals, but what synth do you play? Like, what is the actual thing?
I played the Chord Minilog.
Okay.
And it's it's been a lot of fun. It's a really great little synth with tons of great sounds, and it's very, like, the interface is really user friendly, and so that's been my main instrument. My main instrument is singing, and like I've only really gone into dived a little deeper into synths of the past couple of years, and I'm still learning, which is always, it's a lifelong thing. But that's been what I've been playing.
Do you have vocal pedals ever?
Yeah, I have a TC Helicon vocal pedal.
What is that?
It gives me control over the tone, and kind of clarifies things. I can add verb and delay, and mods on it, and
you've got this really cool like tremolo like chorus thing that you've added on a few times, like that just like cuts up the voice. Yeah, you've got some really cool effects, and we make sure that that it gets out there live as well.
Sweet. Yeah.
It also just adds like a really nice tone. Like, I don't know if you go for like just the difference from like a raw mic going into a board, even if you add some, verb on it, it EQs it really nicely to be able to do that a step before going into the board, so that the sound tech doesn't have to, work so hard to make the vocals sound nice.
So, wow. Okay, cool. And then Eric, what about for you?
I've got a bunch of pedals, not as much as Noah, but I've got
your pedal board is like twice as big as Noah's.
You know what though? I've got, but those are the pedals I have. I have all the pedals that I use in this band on my board. Noah will swap out things. I've got two Eventide pedals. I've got it's an octave pitch factor, and time factor. Time factor is like the delay and stuff. But let me not dive into my whole board. I think my main tone here, if you want to get my tone, it's a Telecaster through an AC30 amp. That alone sounds fantastic. It really, those complement each other really well. And then I have a OCD gain pedal, overdrive, and my secret weapon is my fuzz pedal, the Your and Your by Montreal Assembly, which I have heard. I don't know anyone who has this thing.
I've never heard of it.
It's a gnarly, crazy fuzz pedal that isn't biting. It doesn't hurt your ears when it's on. It's very smooth, but it's also very intense, and you'll hear it across the Pressure Waves album live. Like that's my super fuzz.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we can get off of continue the gear talk via worst performance or worst live memory.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So there was one show I remember from like many years ago. I remember. Okay, let me start over. There was one show I remember from a while back where it just wasn't a great show for a number of reasons. One of them was because we couldn't hear ourselves on stage, and it just like that always kills it.
Yeah.
That makes it like you have no idea what's going on out there. And another thing for me, I think I was just like I was in a really bad mood, and I was like, you know what, if I smoke a little weed, I think that'll help things. And so right before going on, I smoked a little bit of weed, and it did not help things. It made it, I was like in a daze, and I still wasn't in a good mood. And I was like, and then I was like trying to unwrap my cables, and I was like, oh my God, where do I plug it? Like, I don't even know.
Oh Lord.
And so that didn't help.
I didn't know you were that stoned.
I know it wasn't that stoned, but I think just combined with I would have been like crying or something. So I was in like a daze already. And then I was just like, but it wasn't just me though. Everyone else also had a bad time.
Yeah. Cause on top of that, we were in Feedback City. Yeah.
Wow.
It didn't stop, and we couldn't really like, it was so distracting. I don't remember if it lasted the whole show, but it was not a great way to start. And then also there weren't that many people there. It was a little like playing to an empty venue.
Yeah. And I think we were on a bill with like a bunch of bands that didn't really make sense together too. It was just like,
it
was just the thing we were.
It was just like, you name it. It just didn't go well.
Yeah. But in hindsight, it's funny to look back on it.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. I hope so. That's the beauty of the podcast. That's so funny. I could definitely see it being very disorienting, getting high, and also having sound issues. Where, like, this isn't the most popular opinion, maybe, but you know that famous Mariah Carey singing mess up she performed in a New Year's ball drop or something, and she sounded god awful. And the truth is, Mariah Carey can sing. She might be a diva or whatever you want to call it, right? But she's an amazing
voice.
Yeah. And people, or maybe it was her, maybe it was somebody else, but the idea was it was a in-ear issue. Like, she was hearing a different thing than the other people. So of course, without the correct musical context, it's going to sound very off. So imagine being that, but high. That is what you were going through.
Yeah. And then also, as soon as you get in your head about your performance, like, oh no, this isn't sounding good. Oh no, like this is bad. Like it's over. As soon as that happens, you get in your head, it's completely over.
Yeah, you want to be uninhibited.
Even when you're playing well, you just get into your head. Mistakes are gonna happen.
Totally. Well, hopefully, like you said, that was a long time ago. It's been left in the past, and you have many good shows coming up. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's been a lot easier. I mean, it's like live shows are always unpredictable.
Yeah.
As soon as you get on stage, it's like, oh no, did we forget this thing, or like what's going on? And so, but we've been a lot better at just trying to like keep it light, keep it positive, keep it fun, and it's never going to be a perfect show.
Right.
Yeah. But we've also like tried to make it more predictable by now we have in-ears so that we don't run into feedback issues. Laura's always got in-ears so that we don't need to have her voice coming through the monitors, and don't run into that situation anymore.
Wow, right. So. That's very professional of you guys.
Yeah,
we feedback sucks.
It does suck, but I always just think that sucked, and then I move on. So it's a good thing that you actually tried to solve it.
We got a lot of notes to play. I don't want to be thinking about feedback.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move into the next question then. I would love to hear what you think your best song is that you've publicly released. So we can't, I'm sure you're super excited about what you're currently working on, but we can't highlight that yet.
I thought this was your worst song. I thought that's
That's where it's getting. That's where it's ending.
Oh man, our best song.
I mean, I know my answer.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, it's for me, it's 3-1 because of the story behind like how we wrote it, and it's also just a really cool song. Yeah, it's super. That song was super collaborative for the LP songs. It was. It also took us so long to write, and everyone shared their ideas. We might have shot down ideas, but we got around to hearing them all out.
Well, you were the no but
everybody
band.
Everybody got their say in. We were doing no, but maybe this. We did that for 6 years.
This is why it took so long to do it.
Yeah. But the end result is really cool, and so much fun to play, and
yeah,
I like that song.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, it's hard. There's a lot of songs that I love. For a long time, Pressure Waves was my favorite. Like, I love the way that it grows, and I love the guitar line. Like,
I love the way that song grows. It's a little journey through all these parts. It's awesome.
Yeah, and then you get to the chorus, and it's kind of this unexpected, like, heavy, or the post verse. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know. The first when it first gets heavy. Yeah, it's a really cool thing that just kind of pops out. I also really like Hiding in the Dark. That was one for a while. It's maybe not one that has been heard a lot, but that's another one that I don't know, there's something about it that gets me.
When I was going through this deep dive of the album recently, I came across that one and realized we play to play that one right, we got to play really delicate and intimate on it. I want to bring that one. I want to try that one again. Yeah, I also really like that song. It's also one that grows, but it grows the dynamic range in that song is pretty vast.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you haven't been playing that one live, is that correct? You haven't been playing that one live very much. That would feel new to a lot of people who come and see you probably, and be exciting if you add that to what I assume is going to be a lot of new songs in your set coming up.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how we feel down the line, but I feel like that would be cool. Cool to try again.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe the national anthem, maybe whatever. Yeah, sweet. Well, okay, it's the time. Let's talk about worst song.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So what do we think?
About everything we have released, it's got to be BBB. Yeah.
Okay, walk me through it.
All right, so. It's interesting because it is still a cool song. I still like it, but something still just hasn't totally clicked when we're playing it live. There's times that I really enjoyed it, especially when we were recording it. There's just cool stuff in there, but since we've been playing it since the album came out, we're just, I don't know, it's not totally clicking. And there's also another reason we picked this song, which is because something interesting happened in the writing process where it also went through a journey of sounding different in different stages. And the first idea that we all really clicked on, I think, sounds better than the finished thing.
Oh no,
it's different, but the cool thing is it sounds almost like a completely different song, and somehow I don't even know why, but at some point we decided, let's try something else, and we ended up with what BBB is now.
Whoa.
I actually here I've if you grab my phone, I got a recording of it so you can hear what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Yeah, it sounds very different, and keep in mind this is just a practice from years ago.
Yeah.
But
Right, let's hear it.
Here, I'll play it for you. Just give me 1 second here.
Sure.
Let's make sure you can hear it.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's just a completely different chorus, completely different, like really cool Jamie bridge, and I love what we're doing. And I almost want to like, it's now in the back pocket. Like I want to do this.
Yeah,
later.
I was just gonna say, couldn't you solve the problem at least live by playing it like this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so different that it's gonna be a completely different song. Like these are different riffs, these are different melodies. It's just
Whoa.
like, and well, I mean, my instincts on that version of it now are like we'll probably play that more than BBB.
Yeah, I mean, there was also a whole other section, I think, in the intro, right? Like the intro was completely different. Maybe it was a little more like Queensy, a little more like Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah. No,
Is it in the same?
Have
that's another one, right?
Play it on the like. Are you talking about this like?
It's a lot sludgier and like slower and a little heavier.
Especially because you said Queens of the Stone Age. I can imagine what they would do with that. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's heavy, sludgy. It was like inspired by that kind of sound. When I first wrote that riff, I just threw my octave pedal, went through my tiny little amp with a fuzz turned all the way up, and that's what it was. And then he brought to the band with a completely different idea for some reason of playing it like a fast punk song. And then we went back and did it halftime, and we played that for a while. And then I don't know why we jumped away from that.
I don't know. I think we were always doing, it was never quite what we wanted, or it was like, let's, instead of just being like, okay, that's the song, let's move on. Like, it's not perfect, but let's move on to a different song. It was like, oh, let's scrap what we're working on, try to make it into something that we really love, instead of being like, okay, what is this song, and what does this song want?
We were a no but band. That should have been a yes and.
Exactly.
So it was so it was like, scrapping it instead of just being like, okay, well, that's one song, now let's see what else we got. It was okay, this song has to be exactly what feels perfectly right all the time. And I mean, it is funny though, because I do still like the song. Like, I like the melody and I like how it flows, but it does feel a little bit like I can hear some of that like Frankensteining of how we were operating, where we kept dissecting and we kept pulling things out and replacing things. Like it doesn't feel as cohesive. Like,
no, Frankensteining is a perfect term for it. It's like, this arm was from here, this head is from here. Yeah, no, and you don't want to be able to see the screws, Yeah.
What's interesting about that is that that song really did evolve from different jam sessions. We were trying different ideas, and then we Frankenstein those ideas together. So it did all come from the same, like us working on the same song. It wasn't like other riffs that got put together.
Right. Yes.
But something about our the way we were working at that moment in time wasn't as cohesive as we are now. And
well, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Well, we were doing that a lot, where it was like you would bring riffs, and then we would like work on that riff, and then we were working on the song, and then be like, okay, where does it go now? And it always had to go somewhere else. And it was like, oh, what about that other riff that you had? And we would try to kind of like shoehorn it in and try to put them together to constantly have the song be evolving and having twists and turns, like had to be an M. Night Shyamalan song.
I've been trying to figure out why this is that song and why we haven't been feeling it, and I think you just hit on the head. I think that is it. That's why it hasn't felt like that. That's the piece that's missing, is because we were just forcing it
into this twisted parts, multi-part thing.
Now all the ideas are there. They're really cool, but I don't know. There you go. That's I guess that's why it's our worst one. Huh?
Yeah, it's not always a bad thing. Sorry.
All I was gonna say is worst doesn't necessarily mean bad.
Yeah.
Right?
I've heard the songs that have been featured on this podcast.
They're all great.
I haven't heard a bad one.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all your personal baggage usually.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's funny though, because the whole like the idea of like, you know, a song that feels a little bit Frankenstein, it's like, yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I've heard like amazing songs that do that, where it just all of a sudden cuts into something totally different, and it's like, whoa, it's kind of jarring, but it's also really fun and cool. And you know, it's really kind of comes down to just how you feel about it, and then especially like there's a big difference, I think, between like listening to a song and then playing a song, like playing, you know, like being the band that's playing the song.
Absolutely.
Being able to feel it and enjoy playing it, I guess, is it's not that I do enjoy playing it, but it's, you know, I think that
you know what's happening is that we got a lot of exciting stuff on the go.
Yeah.
And I think that's just it. I think to go back and make this one song work again for us, I think is taking a step back. And even while you were talking, I was like thinking of like, oh man, how can we make this song work? Like falling back into old habits of like, how can I dissect this song?
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's like, no, leave it alone, leave it alone.
Exactly.
Do not resuscitate.
Exactly. That song helped us get to where we are now, and we're gonna move forward and make some new cool shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also, you certainly at the time thought it was good enough to put out publicly, and so there, you know, you can trust the old version of yourself at least, you know, maybe.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast. This was really fun. We got to like, well, I'm going to put them in post, but we got to share some of the demo stuff, which is cool, or like rehearsal. I always love stuff like that, so thank you. Please just reintroduce yourselves, reintroduce the name of the worst song and the band.
Yeah.
Either of you.
Sure. I'm Eric, guitar and Silks.
I'm Laura, vocals and synths in Silks.
And this is our worst song, BBB.
Which stands for Bugs, Bugs, Bugs. I think. Did we decide? Did we agree on that?
I'm gonna go with yes. One of the demos is called Bum Bum Banana, so let's say Bugs, Bugs, Bugs.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. I can't believe I didn't ask that.
we are.